since the beginning of June, like I said, and I have now 10 pre-listing appointments scheduled for this week, and I was supposed to be in Florida this week.
Good for you. Did you guys take notes on that? I hope you did, because there's a lot of good nuggets in there.
But the way how I get around the do not call list is to let them know that I will be reaching out to them. For one, give them my number, so it'll be fresh on them when it comes up on their call ID. Two, I've already sent a notice saying that I will be calling.
Okay. Good for you. That's amazing, Belinda. Does anyone else have anything that they're working with right now?
Yeah, I just speak in a little bit. I just sent you a link, Louis. I don't know how to post it on the chat, but maybe you can.
You emailed it?
I think I texted it to you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So this interest rate thing, I'm in, some of my clients, Belinda, are with you. They're on the lower end of the buying power, which is kind of hard to break into the Florida market. So I put together a 60-second short and talked about what if you borrowed $350,000 at so much percentage rate, and I showed them in 60 seconds how they can take a 30-year fixed and pay it off in 24 years, 2 months, and save $158,900 by doing that. And it really amounts to paying 13 payments in a 12-month period. The 13th payment is at 0% interest. So it shortens the life of a 30-year fixed by nearly 6 years. And it costs them to get that payment $189 that they got to come up with somewhere. So I showed them that a Starbucks coffee times that of their wife, they can come up with $400 a month and have enough to do that. And when I've sat with clients over lunch, breakfast, and said, look, you can lower the interest rate regardless of whatever the interest rate is. You have no control over the feds. But if you can come up with 13 payments in 12 months, 14 payments in 12 months, you can control the interest rate, at least lowering it somewhat. I've gotten 2 clients just by that rationale. And in answer to the second, you asked the question earlier, what's my strategy? I'm going more and more after investors, Louis, because down here, there's so much opportunity post Hurricane Ian that you can pick up properties cheaper. And I am finding that prices have leveled out, and every buy that I've made with clients this year has been under asking price, not over.
Good for you.
That's a much different market than what it was when I first got my license.
Oh yeah.
19, 20 months ago.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Brett, I hope you're express office certified. If not, you need to do it ASAP, if that's your strategy.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, good. And I also, before you comment, Louis, I also forgot to remind you that my seller, since I'm going after listings, I made that shift. So since I'm going after listings, my sellers are also becoming my buyers. So that means for me that my game for the buy-in, I don't have to advertise or promote or to do those things to attract buyers, because my buyers are now my sellers also. So I get the round robin. Yeah.
That's called working smarter, not harder, because if you get the listing, there's a chance that you might also get the buyer for that home. So that's a 2-for-1 right there. And what if the seller is so happy with your service that they want to use you as the buyer's agent too? That's a triple hit out of one contact. So working smarter, not harder, because if you represent a buyer, you're done. That's it. You're out of work. But with a seller, you might be able to really cash in, guys, on one connection that you made. So that's kind of what I want to share with you guys today. I'm going to show you guys something I've been up to. But before we do that, I want to play Brent's video so you guys can see exactly what it is that Brent's putting out there. His one thing that Brent forgot to mention is the fact that, yes, he's targeting more of an investor clientele right now because prices are starting to stabilize and things of that nature. But he forgot to mention that he's also very consistent and active creating content. Brent went from 0 to 540 subscribers in a year. Was that like a year or maybe less?
Less than a year.
Less than a year, okay? And he's already gotten a lot of people calling him from these videos, which he thought would never have been a possibility. He thought only guys like me could do it. He's doing it and he's crushing it, okay? So let me play this video for you guys.
Let's say you borrowed $350,000 at 6.75% interest and promised to pay it back in monthly payments over a 30-year period. Your monthly payment would be $2,270.09. If you divide that number by 12, it's $189.16. If you discipline yourself, take that $189, and every time you pay a monthly payment, you tell the banker to apply the extra $189 to the principal of the loan. You will pay your 13 mortgage payments in 12 months, and the 13th payment will be 0% interest. You will have paid your 30-year mortgage off in 24 years and 2 months, and you will have saved $158,900 in interest. How do you come up with $189? A large Starbucks coffee costs you $8. You and your spouse each get one. That's $16 a day for 30 days a month, $480 a month. Make your large coffee a small coffee. Get your spouse to do the same. You'll save yourself $158,900 over a 30-year mortgage.
That was
Yeah.
nice.
That was
Great
great.
video, man.
That was
Yeah,
great.
Awesome.
Great video. Yeah.
For real. You got,
Yeah, that's fire.
yeah,
I'm
that
about to do that. He got me calculating how much I gotta pay a month extra.
absolutely. Look, guys, Brent's
Mhm.
videos look like that now, but Brent's videos did not look like that when he first started. When Brent first started, he just put up anything, you know, anything that he thought was interesting. And it worked. It worked because he was getting views even when he would make videos standing in front of a pier, like a marina. This one's got 787 views. Yeah, he's got this one here where he's got this young, I don't think I've ever seen this one. But he's got 3,000 on that one. So all along, no matter what he's putting out there, he's creating an audience. He's getting people to watch his content. He's got 5,600 views on this. And then the latest one he just dropped that you guys, or one of the latest ones he just dropped that you guys just saw, that already had like 1,500 views, if not more, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I'm not seeing it right now, but maybe it's under videos. Not sure why. Okay. But Brent is getting a ton of traction because he's doing the right strategy. Shorts are getting a lot of attention. So he's building his audience with the shorts and he's keeping them with his longer form videos. All right. He's forgetting to tell you guys that because it's ingrained in him about what he's doing right now, but it will bring him clients because Brent is new in Florida. So it'll bring him clients because as little as Brent may know about Southwest Florida, because he's only been here for a few years, he knows plethora more than anyone coming from Minnesota or California. So along the way, he's becoming the expert anyway. And before you know it, he's going to be the expert. And not only that, but if I saw a video like the one we just saw with Brent, I would have already thought he was the expert because perception is reality.
Let's say you borrowed 300.
And you see this video is so well produced. Brent doesn't know how to edit a video, but Brent figured out that, hey, maybe that's not my skill set. Maybe that's a skill set that I could find someone for a very inexpensive amount to take care of for me, even if I got to invest in myself. If you can't even do that.
Is that him losing audio?
Yeah, I don't hear him well, Louis.
You guys don't hear me?
Okay.
No,
we can.
Okay, sorry. If you can't invest in yourself like Brent has been doing, Brent's been paying someone to help him with these videos. If you can't do that, then that means you don't even have a belief in what you're doing, right? So Brent has done that. His videos have, the quality of his videos are amazing, you know, and then you look in the first few videos and you're like, oh, those videos were his first attempt at getting used to the process. And then what he did was try to refine the process over time, making it better and making it better until you see what you see right now, which looks to me like a video that I would see an influencer make. You guys see how that happens?
Yes.
The transition over less than a year is amazing. Good job, Brent. So that's something I wanted to touch on for just a second, because I cannot reiterate how important it is to keep putting your message out there consistently. Even if you make these small, short videos, these things don't take that long. You know, you can do a bunch of these. You can take a day out of the week and batch 7 of them in one day. And if you don't know what to talk about, just ask ChatGPT, what do I talk about? And then just script them out, or you don't even have to script them out. They're so short, you could just talk off the top of your head, which should be stuff that you know about anyway. Yeah, so great job, Brent. How do you feel about these videos and the quality you're getting?
Well, I feel good. I'm never satisfied. So by now I wish I'd had 1,000 subscribers, but I have to have a talk off the cliff from Louis every so often, because I'll hit a lag and then all of a sudden it'll pick up a little bit, and I put out some that I think are gonna go kill it. And I get 58 views, and then I put out a stupid one that I was just kind of doing from my bathroom window or something, and it gets 1,800 views or something like that. So
Yeah.
what I'm finding is guy from Massachusetts sees me, comes down, and he's up on the balcony. I get out of the car in the parking lot, and his first words ever to me at face to face were, "Here comes the movie star." And a
Look at
guy
that.
from Arizona. How did you hear me? Well, I found you on the computer, YouTube.
Mhm.
So he's out here, he's coming out for the second time. And when I get one of those, and the guys are looking at, the one guy's looking at a $650,000 condo, and the other guy's looking at a $1.3 million house, I'm thinking, man, that's all of my YouTube plus a whole lot more by paying a guy $50 to do a short, and paying somebody 50 to 75 to do a long.
Mhm.
So it's, Lewis challenged me when I first got my license. Brent, you're going to have to invest in your business. And that's totally up to you. You don't have to invest anything, but you probably won't get much out of it if you don't. And the more you can wisely invest in your business, you'll start getting stuff back if you're consistent and if you offer reasonably good content. So I'm embarrassed when I look at my first ones, but they have gotten a little bit better, but they're not as good as I hope they are soon.
Your worst ones are 10 times better than my first few, so don't worry. At least you had the gift of being able to speak. I was tripping over my words in my first few videos, but that's not the point. The point
That's
is,
not
guys,
true, Louis.
get
I've
started.
seen your old videos.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah,
point
and
is,
that's
you
not
guys should
true.
just get started. Just get started, because you'll always be better. And then get the worst ones out of the way. You'll always be better.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. Go ahead.
Of course, I'm your #1 fan, remember?
Thanks for that. Did you have
Yeah.
something to add to Brent's stuff, or did you have something of your own?
No, but you were asking like, what are we doing
Yeah,
different now to generate
please.
business? I just bought the Mojo system,
Oh,
$3.
good for you. Good for you.
I don't know how to use it yet, so I'm gonna have to go after this session and watch a webinar and try
Yeah.
to find a good script.
Good. Book a time with me, and I'll show you how to automate that process even better. Okay. I'll show you how to.
Yeah, you're the best.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
show you.
you.
I'll show you how to take that system and then just be able to just hit one button on your screen, and it'll go directly to your CRM, or it'll go directly to a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do with that hot, cold, and that data. So it'll be a lot better for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. So one thing I want to share with you guys with our time left here is that sometimes we think that the more complicated things get, or the more things change, the more complicated it has to get. I think that's what I was trying to say. And sometimes the more difficult things get, the more the basics apply more and more, right? So what do I mean by this? So in my city of Naples, Florida, it is very difficult to find a good deal. It is very difficult to find something that's undervalued, and it's very hard to represent investors or buyers in a market like that. So what I found is that there isn't a lot of opportunity for us to do it the old-fashioned way that I used to do, which is look for the distressed data, look for people who are, let's say, behind on their taxes or have a lien on their home. That amount of information is very limited. What I mean is there are not a lot of people that are going through that situation. But what we do see in our area that we have a lot of opportunity for is homes that have been damaged by the hurricane and still have not been fixed, and still have not been brought up to par. So what I decided to do the other day is something that I heard on YouTube. There was a guy I was watching who's a builder, and he works in the Seattle area. No, it's not Seattle, it's Washington area, by where they have the Microsoft campus and a lot of those big employers in the area. So like housing demand there is incredible. It's just, you don't find a good deal on those markets either. So what he said is that he never bought a property, and he's a big time builder now. He said he never bought a property off the MLS. He's always bought all of his properties off market. So he says the way they did it was they would drive neighborhoods, they would write down addresses, and they would build relationships and contact those people over time, like over time. And he said they've done so well that they're known for buying these types of homes, and the opportunities come to them. And they still do the marketing, don't get me wrong. And they have people who do that now for them. But at one point, that's how they started. So I said, you know what? That is genius. It's so simple that it's genius, right? So I said, when's the last time I drove these neighborhoods that have been hit by the hurricane and wrote down addresses? Even though I've been telling myself like, oh, I got to do that one day. I got to do that one day. This guy just reminded me how simple things could be and how the same action compounded over time brings you results like this man. I'm going to find a video. I'm going to post it for you guys so after we're done here, so you can see what he built by doing this, right? He's one of the biggest builders in the entire country, like a smaller, not a publicly owned. But what I did was I went out last week, starting, I think it was Monday I started. If I didn't start Monday, I started Tuesday. I think I started Monday. And I started driving to neighborhoods in which, hey, I would love to buy a home in this area because it's not like super like expensive. It's not like a knockdown is $1.2 million, but it's also the neighborhoods that are gentrifying that are going to be next in line to be the $1 million neighborhoods. So I said, a lot of these homes are still dilapidated. They're still small and kind of like, borderline wrecks, where it would make sense to, get something there and build it up, and, you'll be safe. If the market does turn, you'll still have equity. So I went out and I started just writing down these addresses. I started talking to people on the street. I started just feeling the energy of being outside and going out and doing these things. And what I created was something really cool that I want to share with you guys. Real quick, I'm going to share my screen. So what I did was I created a little form on Google Docs. Anyone can do this. You just go to the Google Drive and you go to New, and then you go to Google Forms. That's why I created a form. And on there, I created just two simple things. I added an address, and I added whether it's in Naples or an other. So if I'm driving through like a different city, I'll just put other, and then it'll be a different city. And it also gives me the opportunity to upload a video or a picture if I want, right? So the only two obligated things are address and city. So if I do this, which I showed, I did a presentation last week with a real estate group, and I showed them this, and they were really just impressed at how simple it is and how efficient it is. Because what I do with it is I go ahead and I put in an address. Let's just say I call it 1234 Main Street, and I say it's in Naples, and then I hit submit. So once this data is submitted, I don't know who the owner is. I don't have the owner's phone number. I don't have any of that information. Like, there's no way for me to contact them besides knocking on their door. And a lot of these homes are still empty or they're tenant occupied. So what I've done is I've created a system where now, as soon as that data goes into this form, that form then gets recorded into a spreadsheet that is automatically loaded with the information I type in. So if I go in here and I type in 1234 Main Street, you see it right here. It got recorded this morning, 6:19 at 9:55 a.m. So why am I showing you this is because now, as soon as this data comes in, my VA gets an alert, and then she goes in and she fills in the rest. She fills in who the owner of the property is, the other missing categories, and then what she's able to do now is she's able to now reverse pull the data. She's able to pull the phone number because now we've got the address, we've got the phone, we've got the owner's name, we've got the phone number, and now we also have what's very important. A lot of people forget to do this is we have the mailing address, because the mailing address might be different than the property address. Do you understand? Because if a home is vacant, or maybe they're absentee owners, or maybe they were displaced, now they have a different mailing address, right? So it's a year later, a lot of people have updated that information. So if the city needs to send them, let's say like a fine or a tax bill, it's not getting mailed there, it's getting mailed somewhere else, right? So the reason I'm showing you this is because this is a streamlined way for you guys to kind of start doing some of the old-fashioned like door knocking work, right? But what's different about it is that you're just creating a little spreadsheet that you can go later on and fill in the data yourself. If you're a one-person show, there's nothing wrong with that, because at least now you don't have to write it down on a pad, then go back to the office and then write it into a spreadsheet and then keep it in your CRM. You can just keep it in a spreadsheet, it's fine. And then pull the data later, that whenever you have time for it. But what's great about this system is it keeps you organized. You don't have like a random piece of paper here with information. Maybe you put it on your phone another day. It's all in one place and it's very simple to do. What you do with it afterwards is a follow-up strategy, which I would say would be the following, for me at least, phone call. Then you also want to give them a piece of unique mail. If that's not a handwritten letter or a handwritten letter with a Post-it inside, or like Belinda's doing, she's buying the random greeting card from the dollar store where, you know, maybe it says like, I don't know, maybe it says like Happy Easter and it's going out during this time of year. People are confused, and you could write something inside the card like, well, if this card doesn't make any sense to you, then I'm sorry, but I just, you know, like I wanted to reach out and say hello. Or, you know, or maybe if this card doesn't make any sense to you, neither does holding on to a home that's empty, give me a call. You know, something, come up with something that's unique to you, and just do it, right? Just send out that once a month. The key is getting their attention with the mail, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of times people won't answer the phone for numbers they don't recognize. So you may not get them by phone, but you might get them by mail. So what you do then is you keep a database of who's getting back to you, because maybe the one person called you back and said, you know what, thank you for the card, very funny, but we're not thinking about selling right now. But in the future, if we do think about selling, how much would you offer? And maybe that just starts the conversation. You keep those notes in your spreadsheet, and then you follow up with them in the future. You put it up on a board for future follow-up, or you keep it in your CRM for future follow-up, or you keep it anywhere, as long as it's a place that you always have access to, that you're always going to check back to. And what I would say is that also make it where it's easy for you to do the follow-up. So for instance, if I said to you guys, this month, tell me who you have to follow up with that you've been talking to, or maybe let's say let me even get more specific. Today, who do you have to follow up with today? A lot of people don't realize that you can do that on your CRM. Your CRM will tell you who to follow up with. Other people use their calendars. There's nothing wrong with using your calendar as well. The one thing I don't want you to do is keep your follow-ups in a place where you can't automate it, or you can't quickly have a drop of a dime. Tell me in the next 10 seconds, who do you have to follow up with today? If you have to go through a process of finding out, oh, wait, what guy was it that I talked to last week? Where did I put that note? Make sure it's all centralized in one place. So if it's not in your calendar, it should be in a CRM, should be somewhere visual. Some people work well with whiteboards. I know people who do a ton of business and all their follow-ups are on a whiteboard, a calendar whiteboard, and they just put down, follow up with this person on June 19th, follow up this person on June 21st. And then you just have it on a whiteboard. If you want to do it that way, God bless you. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you have a method that works for you. So the follow-up is going to be crucial, because what you're doing here is you're bringing up the best properties, right? The properties that you want to work with, not the things you get by chance. But now what you're doing is you're being strategic. So once you get one property, you put your sign on a property, right? After you close on it, it has your sign, you're branding yourself. And then you close on the other property, then you put your sign on that property, you're branding yourself. So before long, people are starting to see your sign everywhere, and they're starting to get your mail, and they're starting to get your phone calls, and they're like, oh, you're that guy, you're that girl who, you know, who sold that house around the corner for me. You start doing just sold, you start doing just, you know, whatever, like all this type of marketing to that same market that you've been cultivating. And before you know it, you're the person for that area. But initially, that boulder is very heavy to start pushing up that hill. So you got to do the legwork. You got to do the strategies. You got to do the automation. You got to do these things, because nothing happens overnight. Like with Brent's YouTube channel, nothing happens overnight. The magic happens in the compound effect of you doing the same activity over and over and over and over again. So to give you guys an example, every day I went out, I took down I think I took down like 15 addresses, 20 addresses, maybe more, 25. I don't know, whatever. But I thought to myself, I was like, I didn't think about 25 addresses a day. I said to myself, how can I make this quicker? How can I make this, how can I get, 40 addresses a day versus 25? So as I'm going, I'm trying to refine the process. And then I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's only 25 a day, but in a month, that's 600. Right? Or maybe let's say even on the low end, let's say it's 250 or 200 a month. In a year, that's 2,400. I'm sorry, remember the math is all completely wrong. Let's say it's about 2,500 to 3,000 numbers or addresses in a year. And let's say I never do any more after a year. I just keep those 2,500, but I consistently keep following up with them. That is a very targeted, specific list. They will do better for you than to cast a very wide net, like Belinda said in the beginning, across everywhere, which I've tried before. But don't get me wrong. I've tried going cast a net across the country. I tried to cast a net across the entire state of Florida, and it works and it doesn't work. Will you get the business? Eventually, yes, because the law of numbers allow you to get business, right? But what happens is that you don't have the same compound effect because your efforts are all over the place, as opposed to if you put all your efforts into your community and the area you really want to focus on, you can dominate that area. And after that area has been dominated, then you can assign someone from your camp to take over that area, and then you can start doing the same thing somewhere else, or vice versa. You can keep that area and then you can assign someone else to another area, teach them what you learned, and do the same thing in that area, and then build more areas that you guys want to focus in. So that is the strategy I'm working on right now, which is not technical at all, except for obviously I got to make everything technical. I got to make things a little more complicated than they need to be, but it works because it helps me automate things. And hopefully it helps you guys automate things as well. But what I'll tell you is that sometimes things that are just like fashion, right? What used to be in is now in again, because everyone's thinking, how can I get more technical and how can I get more advanced? How can I get AI to do this for me? Sometimes we just have to kind of like roll up our sleeves and go old school and just start thinking about what can I do that is different than what everyone else is doing, which still is a proven track record to work. Going out there and shaking hands, guys. I'll give you a quick story from last week. I was driving down the street and I saw some guys talking outside of a property. And then across the street, I saw mixed use, like a commercial style building that was like in a residential area. So it was like a mixed use type of setup in Naples. And I said to myself, that would make an amazing investment property. I would love to get that investment property. And across the street, I saw two guys talking. So I get out of the car and I go talk to the two guys. Turns out that the one guy owned the house that he was standing in front, and he was rebuilding it. He's a builder and he was fixing it himself. And then the other guy that was with him was the owner of the house next door that was completely dilapidated, like horrible, right? I don't even know how people could live in there. And it turns out that he wants to sell his house. A neighbor wants to sell his house and says his father is interested in selling. So I gave him my card and I told him, give this to your father. Let's talk. I'd be very interested in talking to him, making him an offer with no contingencies, no inspections, nothing. So I planted that seed with them. But you can only do that if you hit the road and you go start meeting people and talking to people. And don't be shy. Don't be scared. No one's going to bite you, right? So you break the ice and you talk to people. And now I planted that seed. But more importantly, I asked them, I said, hey, guys, tell me the story about this property behind me. Oh, they're like, oh, that's Butch's property. I'm like, do you think he would ever sell that? And they're like, nah, he would never sell that. That's what he does for fun. Like the guy comes here once in a while and he's just like, it's like his hobby and thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I know the scoop with the place that I was looking at, but along the way, I got my foot in the door for another property that was across the street. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that real estate is a contact sport. Business is a contact sport. Whatever you're focusing your attention on, if you could meet more people or meet new people every single day in that line of work that you're doing, specifically being real estate, there's no choice but to get business, and you will get business and you'll get opportunities that you never would have had otherwise. So if you've learned anything today from me, guys, is the fact that the number one thing that you have to focus on is getting a strategy, finding a way to automate it so that way you can do more of it, and then sticking to a consistent follow-up that'll bear fruit over time. Over time is the key word there, not like overnight, right? Over time. So if you can do that, no matter what your strategy is, no matter what's working for you, just double down on that. I know sometimes we find ourselves to be lost because we're like, oh, nothing's working. Well, I'll guarantee you haven't tried everything. Once you've tried everything and you have a list of everything you've tried, if none of those things have worked, it's probably because you haven't tried anything long enough, or you really haven't given it your all, because there's two people could walk down the same street and one person could come out with a bunch of leads and the other person could say, this street sucks and I got no leads from the street at all. Maybe it has something to do with your approach. Maybe it has something to do with the way that you speak to them, your tone. It could be anything. So the real thing to do is find out, okay, if this works, then I have to find a way to make it work for me. And if you enjoyed it, but you got nothing out of it. So for instance, if you enjoyed making that video, like Brent made videos, because I know he's an orator, he's a good speaker. If he enjoyed making that video, but he got nothing out of it, does that mean that he should no longer enjoy speaking? I don't think so. I think it just means that he needs to find out a way to better his production or better his message or better his strategy, because he's got the gift of speaking. And then he can go and he can leverage that and talk to 5,000 people a clip. When's the last time any one of us spoke in front of 500 people, let alone 5,000 people? But Brent's doing that every time he puts out a video. Now, if you were to stop in the beginning, it didn't mean that he stopped because it doesn't work. It means he stopped because he didn't believe in himself or he thought that he wasn't good at it. So what I want you guys to understand is when you take up any strategy and it doesn't work at all, but you enjoyed it, like I enjoyed going, talking to people and being outdoors and getting new relationships. I enjoyed that. Did it bear any fruit yet? No, not yet. So every time I'm going to go out, I'm going to think back about the other days in which I went out and I said, what can I do better this time? Did I get more responses when I dressed a certain way? Did I get more responses when I started my conversation a certain way? Did I get more responses when I had a business card in my hand versus no business card and it started with a handshake? You know, you keep track of those things to see how you can make the process better and better over time. And then before you know it, you guys are killing it. You guys are just, and people are like, what's your secret? Like, I don't know. There is no secret. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Don't know what your feedback is on it. I don't know if anyone's been trying this over time. I have heard success stories from you guys saying that you've door knocked and you've gotten business. But has anyone here done anything similar to this over time that has worked for you?
Yes, I've done like the cold calling.
Mhm.
Had a few people that I follow up for like maybe 2 years before I get the listing.
Oh yeah.
So it works. I mean, it works, but you have to be consistent. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Consistency is a key. So what I think we need to focus on, that's a great idea. We need to focus on inventory, and also the bank is an issue right now. So if we can, I think seller finance is going to become a trend if we get a listing. It's another tool
Yeah.
another tool
So
that you can use, seller finance, so you can solve two problems, because I mean buyers are getting hit with 3 points
yeah.
and plus 8% interest on you know whatever interest. So that's a problem that we need to solve. Seller finance, I think, is great. No, nobody know how to do it. I think just send it to like a title company that does it. And it's not a big thing. It's easy.
Yeah. Seller finance is simple, guys. It's not rocket
Yeah.
science.
Yeah, another opportunity I see is on commercial.
Yeah.
Commercial real
Tell us more
estate is
about that.
crashing like crazy.
It's nasty, right?
Yeah, so the banks are calling on their loans like every year, looking on the financials. So a lot of people need help on this thing. So if you guys come across, don't be scared of the price, because there's people buying right now. Like it's not as long as the numbers make sense, the money's there. So if you see a property from 1 million to 20 million, don't be scared of the number. Let me know.
Yeah.
And you know, they get vacancy. They need to fill out like shopping centers. Offices are still trying to figure out what to do with all. They're selling so cheap, like super cheap. Offices are like crazy cheap.
Office buildings,
But
right?
you need offices, but you need to find the best use for this type of property right now, which I'm still trying to figure out. But shopping centers, warehouses, if you see any of those, let me know. You get a find a fee too.
It's this church in Burlington County. They asking, I think 1.4, but they have a huge lot behind it. It's zoned for like if people wanted to build like townhouses, it's a huge lot. Because one
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have my
offer,
number. Let me know. I still got the pastor, so I can send it to him to see what he
it's
thinks about
zoned
it.
for anything. It's just a church there. Like they can make it to whatever they want. Like next to it is a car dealership. So it's zoned for like automotives too. But they just have a church there for now.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That
I'll
sounds
send you
interesting.
the information.
That's awesome.
Commercial. I don't know about loans, but I know here in Georgia, and I know people started making videos, and I need to go out there and do mine next if it wasn't storming outside, is car washes and storage units are popping up all over the place. I mean, the drive-through car washes. So if anybody is looking for a side hustle, I'm pretty sure you can get a loan to do a car wash because apparently Georgia has a lot of dirty cars and we like to go through car washes.
Yeah,
great.
and they do like the monthly pass now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I have one. Why
Mhm.
not? I'm in the
Mhm.
neighborhood, drive through and keep it moving.
Correct.
But that's a big business that's booming down here. And before we close out, I've noticed when Lewis showed his spreadsheet, and I really hope you guys take this to heart. The only town that you saw for him was Naples. And I've been doing my postcard since I joined EXP back in 2020, and I got back into real estate. Just recently, I had to come to the conclusion and reset my mind, refocus, because he's been playing a lot of self-motivation videos. And I had to remind myself, just because I don't see it working doesn't mean that it's not working.
Mhm.
And soon as I had that shift, my phone started ringing and I've been getting more responses.
Mhm.
So it's only costing me $24 a month. And that's because I'm just hitting 10 a week with
Mm.
the cards and then following up. So I'm sorry, maybe $100 a month that I'm spending on postage.
Yeah.
And that is it. But they're handwritten. The
Mhm.
only thing that's not handwritten is the newsletters that I'm pulling right off of EXP. They're not dated, so you can pull whatever issue you want to. And I'm printing it at home. I've got an inkjet printer and I got a color laser. Pick and choose. They both look great, just as long as you have a bright paper.
Sure. Or you can go to the
And-
library and do it for next to nothing.
Yeah, but just stay in your area. There's so
Mhm.
much business in your own area. And like Lewis said, I've tried putting my yard sign out in different towns, but the thing is that I started looking like a fly by night person. But it makes a big impact when your yard sign is in a couple of homes in one town. That's the game changer. Then the
Yeah.
referrals come. Then if they so happen to see your video or your reel up there, it's haphazard. But what happens is right now, my yard sign being in 2 yards in the same subdivision, great impact.
Yep. Yep.
And that's because they're responding to my letters
Yeah.
and my cards.
Let me tell you this much, guys. If the sun were to shine and you stand outside, you might get a suntan. If the sun is shining and you grab a magnifying glass and you point it at any direction long enough, you're gonna have yourself a forest fire. Like that's the power of being focused, is the fact that you can do so much more when you just super focus and you hone in on one area and one thing at a time. Being scattered all over the place has a very limited impact. It will work, but it won't give you the results that you're really looking for, you know? So just look at anyone who you consider to be a success and look at how many things they juggled at once to get there. Right? Cool. I think that's a good way to end today, guys. Thank you, Belinda, for being so active and giving us a lot of great information. Brent, I would ask you, brother, if you can grace us with a prayer in closing today.
Yeah, let's pray. Thank you, God, for all that you've given to us, the mind to be able to think and reason and strategize. And thank you for the health that you've given to us. It fluctuates. Sometimes we feel much more energized than at others. Sometimes we feel touches of depression. But I pray, God, that you would be our source of strength, that we would fix our eyes upon you, Jesus, for you are the author and the perfecter of our faith. So for those who are carrying a burden, those who are discouraged today, those who want to give up, those that are carrying heavy burdens in their family or their marriage or their kids, are making good decisions. They're facing a summer where they're hanging out with the wrong crowd. Whatever that burden is that they carry right now, that would be a distraction to them, I pray that they would turn toward you and that you would prove to be a friend that sticks closer than a brother to them. That fear of you, oh God, would be the beginning of wisdom in their life. And I pray that they would apply what they know already to be true. And in so doing, prove themselves to be wise. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you, Brent.
You're welcome, guys. Have a great day, all.
Take care, everyone.
Too. Bye-bye.
Bye.